All right, we are live on Bread Green now.
Yes, we are.
Shout out to the tech team, man. Y'all worked that out for us. So shouts out to everybody that just joined the conversation. We're talking about a couple of things today. We just got finished talking about this stealthing thing. Full video will be up in a few, so you'll be able to see that conversation. We're going to switch gears, though. And by the way, Paul Spann, Clarence Nargis in the building. We got a guest coming in a little bit later when we talk about social media. And speaking of social media, there's always uproar on social media, right? There's always it seems like we're boycotting and trying to ban something every other week. There's, obviously some of this is good, some of this is a little bit ridiculous, but I want to talk about this Shea moisture thing. Is this moisture or moisture?
Shea moisturizer.
Moisture.
No, it's moisture.
There we go.
Pardon me. I don't want to offend anyone. Excuse me. Shea moisture.
Shea
Let me
moisture.
get it right. Pardon me.
The situation with them running an ad on line. I don't think it came on television yet, but it was an ad that was online that featured 3 or 4 white women and then one very fair-skinned black person. I don't think that matters, but it was a very fair-skinned black person with like loose, kinky hair, right? Loose curly hair. They were talking about their hair struggles. So you basically, you can find this commercial online if you want, or maybe not. I don't know if they pulled it or not.
No,
but
it's up.
okay, so it's still up. Shout out, good for them for leaving it up so people can make their own decision on it, right? I got you. We're gonna get to it. Just so people can don't do the cowardly thing and then snatch it down. Like let people make their own decision about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so this commercial features the white women, and they're talking about, I was blonde and I decided to go red, and when I went red, there was I was blonde when I decided to go red. There was some struggle with that, and just that another. So like a lot of black women were saying that this is a product that we've been using since you corrected it, since you created it, excuse me, and that the first time you have a commercial, you don't have any, not even just, you feature mostly white women, and you don't even have like a variety of black women with different textures of hair.
Right.
Clarence, I'll go to you because you look like you use the product.
I do.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I do.
Tell us what you thought about the commercial. We're going to go to Nargis soon. All right, by the way, Nargis has to hold it down for the women again.
She does.
Yeah, she's the representative.
We got a female
Exactly.
guest coming.
Yeah, we do. Go for it.
I think that it's hard, right? So we have these black businesses that want to grow. And once they grow, that means adding, their fan base has to widen. And when their fan base widens, of course, the people of that fan base become more diverse and become women and men and people of other ethnic backgrounds and ages and races. But I think and I feel like sometimes it's like they reluctantly do that, right? They're like, okay, we want the name and what we did as a business to go forward, but they also have to lose that power of their controlling the content. And I think this is what happens when we allow those businesses to do that, right? You allow the integrity to be compromised. And it's unfortunate, right? Because now it's like we supported you to where you are right now, and now you kind of do this to us. And that shows that there's a disconnect between communication and race. Right? Like, you can't leave that out. I mean, there's no reason as to knowing the history of this product, you go as a marketing team or a strategizer and come up with this commercial. Right? Like, there's no rhyme or reason why you should not be sensitive to that. Right? And I think it's embarrassing. So I wouldn't be surprised if the marketing and PR, or not PR, but the marketing communication team, branding team is probably majority white.
It's a possibility.
So.
Okay, that's an interesting point. That's an interesting point because we all know it's the same thing with the Pepsi commercial that we didn't really talk about on air, where you had this Pepsi commercial and it's got Kylie, which was a little name,
Jenner.
Jenner.
Kylie Jenner.
Little Jenner.
Yeah.
And she's giving the Pepsi to the police officer during the riot, and people got upset with her, and then they got upset with Pepsi, right? Which you should, but you got to think that Pepsi hired a marketing firm to create this commercial, and at the end of the day, Shorty is, I don't ever defend a Kardashian or a gender, but at the end of the day, she's a young girl who got paid to do a job. She did her job. Could she have turned down the commercial? Yes. Should she be more socially aware? Hell yeah, but she's also a young person.
Should she?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to say. She's also a young person, so it's sort of like we beat on her when we should be talking to the marketing firm that created that whack ass commercial. Go ahead.
But real fast to your point of saying they should leave the video up for us to determine. As a media personality or a media standpoint, that's good because we want to have a conversation about this culture. But for the business, snatching it down would probably be better.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? So I think it all depends on what you're looking at it. because if you're like, oh look, we want to kind of do some damage control real fast, go and snatch it down, we'll do something else differently, right? But again, this is a conversation that we need to have, because I mean there was other echoes of conversations within black women with different, like we had I forget the sister's name, but she does the hair, she's a hair blogger.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Even inside the natural hair community, there's diversity in that, right?
Yeah.
People who feel like their hair is more easy or more manageable versus this, and all these different like nuances, even with hair.
Yeah.
Right. So this.
I understand, and I'm gonna go to you, Paul, because I really want to. I mean, I'm not trying to put all the pressure on you, Nargis, but I do want to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah, I'm formulating my thoughts.
I'm with you,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna go to you in a second, P. I just want I get it. I understand it. Like I am conflicted on taking stuff down.
Right.
One hand, and I don't want to, obviously I have on my BuzzFeed T-shirt today. Shout out to Donald Trump for this quote, by the way. But they had a situation, and I don't want to get too far into it, where they had, some stuff had to get taken down. And actually, I don't want to go too far in there. But you can, as a business, you can get in situations where you have to worry about offending people, and then you have to take something down. But there's the thing, like, does it offend everybody? You got to really ask yourself, like, okay, it offends two people, but what about everybody else, right?
Right.
So, like, on one hand, I understand, but on the other hand, I can see the logic. Like, look, we did it. People saw it. I apologize for it. I'm leaving it up for you to make your own decision about it. You know what I'm saying? The CEO of the company went on Breakfast Club, did a nice interview, explained some things, explained his business model, where they're going, how they're trying to diversify, how, I even spoke with a couple of people, including Rosie, about how they have already expanded, and that they have like product for quote unquote white women and product for black women, and different hair textures and that other. So it's not new that white women buy this product. You know what I'm saying? Because they've gotten into Target and all this and that. Again, I'm not a person that uses the product, so I don't know.
But I've only seen it in the like black aisle of Target, because again, I go there for the beard.
Black aisle of Target?
Yeah, the black aisle. Hey, I love that aisle.
Yeah, and fair enough.
Yeah.
I just want you to hold that thought. Yeah, fair enough. But so I just speaking about the video, I can see leaving the video up just so people make the decision. I want to go to Paul right quick, because you're all, not to be funny, but you have locks and you use hair products. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, I mean that. I've never used Shea moisture. I don't know.
No, man.
I'm sorry, Clarence.
Hey.
I had talked to you about this earlier, because at first, like during the beginning of the week when the whole uproar had happened, I didn't know exactly what happened. So we were talking about it. I'll tell you this. I was kind of conflicted at just a little bit, right? Because I watched the commercial. It's not like, okay, so they were talking about, about different textures and struggles with hair. Then, the white women were on there, the black young lady was on there. Now, I didn't particularly find it terribly egregious in the standpoint of marketing and reaching out, I guess, to others. Now, when I started thinking about it on another level, and how important some of these things are, like, to the community, like it's almost like kind of a wash for me. Like I understand, what I'm saying, where it's coming from, and then sometimes I think we make much ado about some things that are smaller and more trivial, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the company, yes, I guess it originated from from black people. It originated from the hair care products, I guess, directed towards black people. And there's, like I said, I watched this commercial. It didn't appall me. I wasn't like, have you seen the full cover? Like, I wasn't like, oh my God, this is like, from some of the things that I was looking at, I thought it was like the most horrible thing ever. You know what I'm saying? But I can't, like, I take certain elements of my hair, like, very seriously, but I don't know. I don't know if it's like a civil rights issue.
Go ahead, Clarence.
I think one of the issues is that it's just another one of those things that we can't have.
It's one more thing.
It's one more thing. It's like, there's not, from my understanding, there's not many black or companies that cater to black women or to black people. So when you do see one of those, of the few that tend to be turning that corner, you're like, well, damn, son, like, can't we have something? So it's like one of those things of like, it's the same conversation we have about hip hop or about any other business model, where it's kind of feel like.
Just ask this. It's something that Adam and I were discussing. Like, so, I mean, there's so many matters and there's so many things. Like, does sometimes our uproar over things, does that dilute some forms of our conversation, like on race and certain things as an overall? Like, in your opinion?
Absolutely. I think that it's like it's still a trigger into
Okay.
the larger conversation, right? It's still a trigger into a larger conversation of black identity. I think these are pieces to the identity, and when you start chipping that away, what do you have left?
Okay, but that's because and we are three dudes talking about a woman's skincare product. All right?
But it's not though. It's just a-
I got you.
Hey,
I got you.
I'm saying,
Hey, relax on that, Adam.
I got you.
My
I
man
got
was
you.
coming for
Because
you.
no,
He really likes his hair
I
product.
got you.
He does.
I know you do, but I do want to because Paul's alluded to a conversation that we had a couple of days ago where I realized as a man, I'm realizing that the hair thing. I think I realized this a long time ago, and I know hair means a lot to you, bro.
Hey, think he
I know hair
chooses
means a lot to you.
curls by accident.
I got you, but what
I
I'm,
think I wake up with
but what
this.
I'm saying is that
Right.
Takes
the
time.
hair thing for most men does not mean as much as it
Right.
does to black. So it's like I do want to hear what you think, Nargis, because this is a product that was originally, I mean, it's a hair product, but it was originally made for women. Just what are your thoughts about the commercial and the uproar about it?
I mean, I was having this conversation like I was telling you last night on the Set the Bar podcast in here. So shout out Amari.
Shout out.
My thing, I was looking at it from a business and marketing standpoint as well, right? Because as much as I love us as a business, you get to a point. We've seen this with music. You know what I mean? You want to break out of the black barrier to be just fame, right? Like that's what they did with the Temptations. They like you the biggest black group. We want you to be the biggest group.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So same with hip hop, same with anything like that, because the world is made up of more than just black people. So from a business standpoint, we don't know what that marketing meeting looked like to where they said, okay, look, this is what y'all numbers are looking like. We can stay like this. Or if we broaden the product, if we diversify the product, this is how much money is left out here for you guys to grab if we start diversifying what we do. You know, we don't know. They might have had to negotiate just to get a curly-headed girl in that commercial.
Right.
You know, like that might have been the compromise. They might have wanted a fully Caucasian debut.
Jump.
Who knows? And that might have been their way of reaching out to get to another demographic.
Right.
Right,
Demographic,
audience. Right. So the owners or whomever might have been like, come on, y'all, give us one. It's like, okay, we'll give you this ambiguously raced girl with curly hair.
Right.
That'll be our compromise. Like, we don't know what that conversation was. So from a business standpoint, I'm not going to get mad or feel like the product is now somehow less black because you're trying to be inclusive of other races, because anyone who's pro-black should know that you shouldn't be anti any other race. And the purpose is to be inclusive in the first place.
So can I add something to that? Because when I talked to a few people about this, and I reached out to women specifically about, because again, it's not an issue I understand, and I did try to relate it to something that I care deeply about, which is hip hop. And I said, yeah, you know, when white people started to infiltrate hip hop, and you had white rappers, and I think some of the feeling was saying like, this is ours. But one point that was brought up to me that I had not thought about is that what the CEO, and this is only speaking to selling to white people and having diversity, right? What the CEO may have seen is that bigger companies were trying to make what he makes. And you see that happen all the time. So really he's doing it what happens in reverse. Bring up Nike. Me and Paul talked about Nike, right? Sneakerheads in the building except for Clarence, right? Not Jonah. I'm just saying, but people that are familiar with the sneaker culture. Nike
like
started
that.
off as a company that was a little
Small.
Nike though. Nike was starting off as a company that just was trying to make a better running and track shoe. What happened was Run DMC came out with with rocking the Adidas, made that popular. Adidas was hesitant to jump on it. Okay, was hesitant. Run DMC had to do so much to even show them like, yo, in the hood we rocking shit, right? So Nike got hip and started creating shoes specific to us, right? What they didn't allow was for Dapper Dan and all of these designers you hear about on these documentaries to come up with their own sneaker and get that money up in the hood. So normally it's a white company that infiltrates us, Timberland, Polo, Tommy Hilfiger, all reluctantly, but they do it. So what it sounded like from what was explained to me, because I'm not you consume this product more than me, right? Is that he just got hip and realized I'm going to have to diversify, because if I don't, not only just for the money, just to, I'm going to make it sound like this noble guy, but I got to diversify just off the strength of what happens when big corporation hair product just decides to steal my ingredients and make products for women of color. So I'm going to lose my business. You know what I'm saying? So on one hand, I understand completely why he has the business model. You know, it's very difficult to just say, I'm only going to make this for black folks. What I'm having a hard time understanding, and truthfully having a hard time understanding, I don't have an opinion on, is whether I should be mad about the commercial. And I think that it's because I don't follow the company from day one. You understand what I'm saying? So I've heard some people say this is their first commercial. I'm not sure, but they were like, your first commercial and you choose to go this route. Why not have your first commercial and your first piece of branding be geared towards the people that's been rocking with you from day one?
Because we don't know how the money is controlled here. We don't know where their finances are. We don't. It might be some, like I gave this example yesterday. It might be some Shark Tank type shit. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, we're financed now. So because we have investors who own a stock in this company, just because you're the CEO don't mean that you own 100% of it.
Right.
So we have these investors who have this amount vested and this amount vested. This is what they want to see. This is what happens the further up this economic ladder you climb. You know what I'm saying? That's where you get away from the grassroots the further up you go, unfortunately. And it's hard to balance that.
But I think that's the rational. That's the consensus, right? We know that this is a business venture or a business move. I think, again, when we're starting to see a rise of black nationalism and owning black, right, and us having a conversation about black identity, this piece is to it, right? So we get the whole business aspect. I can completely understand that, right? So the idea is you buy black, but you sell to whoever, right? That's what's happening right now. But I think that, so the business piece we understand, but again, it's just the optics of it, which is, it's to this point that Lance, John made, said where Shea Moisture messed up was with the optics. They lost out on the mind share of its consumers, and that's a very important aspect. But most business work super hard to keep high.
You can do it, brother. You can do it.
Bring it home.
Overall.
That Baltimore education.
Oh, man.
I wasn't going to say it, but I
See y'all
thought
shit.
it.
Overall, they told a
use
bad
Shea
story
Moisture.
in its marketing ad. So basically, what I'm understanding is that Lance is saying that, yeah, we get that, the business piece, right?
Right.
But you still have a base. You're never supposed to alienate your base.
Your base, right.
Rather, it's politics or business. And I think that just, again, the optics, just the way it looked, is kind of like, damn, yo, like, this is another thing. So, although, yes, I'm not caping for the product itself and because I use it. I think for me, it's just
It works so well. Go ahead.
I'm trying to articulate, I think, the frustration that black people, not just black women, but black people have of having a product that was organically in that community and now like a transform.
So it's only black if it has a brown skin girl in it?
Hold tight. Let me reset the conversation, because we got some new people coming in, and I just want to make sure everybody knows what's going on. So we're talking about social media, and I want to transition into how this, because there is a social media aspect to this. All right, we're talking about social media. We're talking about the Shea Moisture product and the commercial that they ran recently that caught a lot of backlash via social media. People
Big
calling
flag.
for boycotting of the product, this, that, and another. A lot of black women in specific were very upset by this commercial, which featured 3 white women and 1 very fair skinned. Not that it matters. That I get what, I just want to stress that, because it doesn't matter to me that she was fair skinned. But her hair was loose, curly, not like tight, like kinky hair. And a lot of people were upset about
Sounds
this
like my
commercial.
hair.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot of our hair. You know what I mean? Well, not my hair, but I do want to, because I like that question you asked, Nargis, but I also want to add something else to it, which is this amplified by social media, or is this real backlash, right? Because sometimes on social media, you can have the loud majority. And we found that out. We found that out when we did our show about beauty standards, where we had 3 guests, and they couldn't even, like, a lot of those buzzwords that we bring up all the time, toxic masculinity. What was the other one we kept saying?
Slut shaming.
Slut shaming, this, that, and another. They were aware of it, but it just wasn't as important to them as it seems to be, like, via social media, right? So I want you to ask you a question about, like, just because it's not brown women, this, that, and another, but also, is this real? Like, or is this just social media being social media, Nargis? Is this real or is this
so
social media? It's all good.
I'm
Is
so
this real
sorry.
or is this social media just sort of like amplifying something that
I
probably
think it's
isn't?
social media. Like, I love us so much, but we just be finding things to attach to be mad about sometimes. Like, cause if like that's why I posed the question. Like, if we're gonna get into this for Black women debate, guess what? I look like that racially ambiguous woman in that commercial, and I consider myself very Black. So why isn't it a Black commercial? Because it was 2 white women and 1 racially ambiguous one?
I don't think it's the issue if it wasn't a black commercial. I think it's just, again, it's
Because we let a white person in it.
well, it was 2, but I think also, but I think that
It's too many.
But, right. So it speaks to a larger conversation about Black identity and Black business. This product was specifically for this.
Hold on, let me finish.
This product was
finish it. Yeah, finish.
specifically tailored for a certain group of people. When you
In its
start
origin.
in its origin,
Right.
sometimes yes, I think we do attach ourselves onto certain things that it can seem a little trivial, but I think it's like that microaggression that we're always kind of sensitive to in general. So it's like you're gentrifying the product, right, in the business, in the idea of what it was originally made for.
But
So I mean, it's the same way for hip hop. For hip hop.
No, it would be gentrified if the prices went up. It would be gentrified if now, because you're branching out to other races, that now there's a $2 hike or there's a $3 hike on the products that are more for coarser hair, and the finer hair products are cheaper. That's if the products were being gentrified. They're diversifying their products because they want to build a bigger brand. LG has
But
phones,
no one-
TVs, washer and dryers,
No one's denying
all
that.
of those
Again-
things, but they want the brand, right? And the brand chose to diversify in the quality that they have to offer.
Hold tight real quick. Again, you listen to the Mind Stream. Our guests
Yes.
won't be making it in today, so what we're going to do is we're going to keep this conversation going. We're going to get into the social media aspect, but I really want to be able to talk about that with our professional guests. They can talk
Right.
about some of the psychological ramifications. But this is a really good conversation that I want to keep going. So I just want to reset that, let people know. Finish your thought, Narcus, then I want to go to Paul, because I know Paul has some stuff to say.
I mean, that was basically my end of it. Like, we could, there are so many other things going on that we could be putting energy in right now that it's like, okay, yeah, if we want to nitpick this, we can, but at the end of the day, like, if we don't live in an all-Black society, you know what I mean? Unless we out here trying to, like, build a nation within a nation and then only sell our products within that nation, then right on. Like, I will never try to tell Black people to not support or cater to their community. Like, I will never say that. But there are people who go into Black business who are very firm in saying that I'm only going to sell to my people, quote unquote. And I think that they accept that to a degree. There's going to be some windy roads that they have to take. They can't go straight up to the top, whereas if they chose to diversify, because it's harder to solely be Black, because again, the world is not solely Black.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Now, for people who want to just be business people and not just Black business people, you have to be inclusive.
Go ahead, P.
I mean, like I said, like I was saying this to Adam last week or a couple of days ago. Like, when I say it's a wash, like because I completely get what Nargis is saying, and I tend to agree to that only the aspect of this. Like Nargis, there are like a lot of problems, right, within our community, like plenty of things. And while I can understand that this can be a microcosm of those problems, because it leads to a mindset that makes you feel less than or unappreciated or something like that, but I don't know. I don't know if sometimes, in my personal opinion, if we sell certain aspects of our fight a little bit short when we get into these smaller things that like I understand it. I understand that our hair is our jewel and our crown, this and the third. I understand like all the elements that like everything with us is going to have some form of weight to it just because of our history. Like everything, it's almost like it's the understood you. It's there that anything that's racially motivated is going to have history to go to it. I don't know if where I stand in this one. I tend to sort of agree more to the point that she's making as far as like diversity and the company like expanding, but I can also understand people's backlash.
It's interesting because there's a lot of great points we made, right? We got a lot of comments that we're gonna get to in a second. And shouts to everybody that's commenting in the chat. Please keep it going because y'all are helping us with this conversation. Y'all adding a lot of value. I hear what you're saying, Clarence, and I understand, like, and it is difficult. That's the issue when it comes to black businesses. And by the way, I got this sticker, Black Business Matter. Shout out to those folks, right?
Right.
Because there's this idea of community, right? Like if I start, so you hear the things about black business, like people coming in asking for discounts because it's a black business, this, that, and that. There's all these like weird tropes that come along with that. So you can see how someone would go, I don't go into this to be a black business. I make products I make products with black people in mind, but I don't go into this solely expecting only black people to buy my product because of just the stereotypes that I don't necessarily believe, but the stereotypes that come along with it as a black business. I think that's just business in general. I think when you're a small business, people try to get discounts and try to discredit you. I don't think that's a black people thing. I really don't like when we put that all on black people. I'm just going off what the mass majority of people think, right? So, and then there's the black nationalist aspect of it, right? Like that's like, we have to stick together. I'm doing this for you. I can't betray my core audience because not only is just a core audience like Nike has a core audience or LG has a core audience, but we black and it's a black thing and it's something different. But also I see what Narks is saying and Paul, where it's like it's unrealistic to expect yourself to be able to get to another level if you only focus on that. So one person said, and I'm gonna let you read the comment, but I'm just gonna do the one quick comment that I think I want to mispronounce your name. So I think she said it's not the what, it's the how. So people aren't concerned with the fact that they're diversifying.
It's how they did it.
It's how they chose
how
to
it looks.
It's how they chose to represent it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. Clarence.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't think this is a critique. I don't think at large it's a critique of business. We all get that you have to grow, right? If you're a business minded, if that's what you want to do, there's some mom and pop stores that just want to be there, and they're okay with that, right? But then there's some people that want to grow. So Mila said that there's absolutely a way to market a product to a larger market without diminishing the impact and the specific challenges of your core demographic. They failed at that from a marketing standpoint with those ads.
Now, go ahead, Marcus.
I feel like they might have thought, again, speculation, but if we already have that core base, then this marketing launch could be to broaden us out, right? So they might, I don't know, they might have been like, okay, we know we got the brown skin support, so we want to show that non-brown skin people can also benefit from this product.
And that's why old boy who ran for governor lost in Maryland to Larry Hogan, because he didn't go out and go to those black places like Baltimore City and then PG.
I'm not saying it was a correct strategy, but I think,
he lost because he was trying to be, he was assuming that, but I will actually be saying the same thing. My bad.
Right.
Yeah, he was assuming that black folks.
In fact, he didn't actually, the day of the election day, that's when he went to Baltimore City. He said, let's put some signs here, let's put some signs there.
Yeah.
Right.
So that comment.
Go ahead, Paul. I just for the cameras. Go ahead, Paul. Go. Sorry.
That comment that she did still gave it a little more context to me in my mind, even on the specificities of the commercial standpoint, right? Because what she said was they were talking about hair struggle, and from what I got from it, and I could be wrong, and she can state clearly more clarity for herself, is that they didn't talk about the struggles within the black community. You see what I'm saying? Because she said, but hold on. Because she said, because there could have been a number of issues that you guys could have brought up. So I think, but because I'm trying to gain clarity in why everyone is so upset. So I'm thinking that there are finer points to the fact that they like literally with the specificity of this commercial, right? Because they went to the white women and they were talking about having their hair dyed when there's, and I'm asking because you know you and I are kind of on the same team here, but I'm trying to get clarity, for myself, because some things of it I don't completely understand. But her comment, because she said like there are different difficulties within your core base that you guys didn't touch on.
If they had paraded brown skinned women on a before and after, and it's like, oh, I just don't know what to do with this in the morning and all that, then that would have been a whole separate conversation. Why y'all showing us like that? Why y'all putting us out here like this and da-da-da-da-da? Like, that would have been misconstrued that way as well. Hair struggle associated with black women.
So I think that there's always going to be a critique of something, right? I think there's going to be people who are going to, I'm not going to say make a fuss, but there's someone that's going to feel like it either offends them. There's going to be some way where it didn't address someone's specific issues. However, I think that this is a little different, right?
Okay.
Because again, if I'm not mistaken, there was 3 women or 4 women altogether, and majority of them were white, right?
It was 3, and it was 2 white women.
2 white
and
women, okay.
One black
One
woman.
black
Yeah.
We'll call her black just for.
Right. So and that, no, she was
Formality's
black,
sake.
but that's that's an issue of like we have like colorism in our community. But I think that I think it's unfair to compare this product that is associated with black identity to cell phones and other technology, because those companies aren't geared to a
Right.
specific demographic. So that's
Understood.
those we can't compare.
Because, okay.
And I get
Okay,
it.
I'll have that
I get it.
conversation off
I
the
get it.
microphones.
Well, you know what? That's the tough part about it, right? When you're creating a business, specifically when you go into it and you are marketing and gearing your product towards black folks, you can get caught up in that, because at the end of the day, that's a CEO of a company.
Right.
And there is an assumption that black CEOs, male or female, should have like this different level of like awareness and kindness in their heart when they're trying to make money. This is a dude that was selling soap out on the street.
Right.
And then took his company public, right? And he has investors, this and another. All right, that to the side. The real question to me, and what I'm seeing in the chat and what I'm hearing from you all, is that the product that he's selling, the what he's dealing with. If I made a company for sneakers, and it was for, and I said, you know what, I'm marketing towards black people, and I'm a black man, there still wouldn't be that connective tissue, because at the end of the day, we're talking about shoes. When we're talking about hair,
Right.
it adds something different. So that's why I say, as a sometimes as a black man that is not all that into hair, right? I like going to the barbershop, this, that, and another. Yeah, but it's not like my identity is not. I'm not as tight. I'm not tight. I'm just saying, for me, I'm not as connected to it, right? Sometimes we can misunderstand it, and we can be a bit dismissive to when people are saying like, yo, you're talking about something that's very close to me, very personal to me, and you just sort of just like wipe it away and then put someone that doesn't look like me in it. Even what I'm hearing from Nargis is that y'all are dismissing the light-skinned girl that's in it and saying she's not black. So like it's so much deeper than just talking about hair and product. But when you're just talking about being a product and selling a product, he is like LG. He is like
Right,
Nike, because he's selling a product.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. One, I think black business is always going to be critiqued more than other products, right? Because again, just the historical context of black business and black money and community, right? It just, we have that piece in us that I don't think is a part of necessarily the American fabric. But I think that, we have to stop dismissing, because I'm a man, I may not necessarily understand as much. I think as men, we understand black identity, right? So, yeah, you may not be necessarily as attached to your hair, but at the same time, you go to a black barber, you're not going to hair cuttery. You know what I mean? You're not going to these other obscure places to get your face cleaned up, or your hair cleaned up, right? Or to get your locks retwisted, or whatever the case may be. You're not going to those places. So I think that we have to stop at times, me saying it's a male issue, it's a black woman issue, it's a black man issue. I think this is a black identity issue at large, and I think we should be able to be empathetic in general.
We are being empathetic.
No, I'm not
but-
saying I'm not saying
with
you.
We are being empathetic. I think that some people don't understand.
Right.
See, so sometimes I don't like when it comes to black issues and issues that deal with another person. If a person doesn't quite understand, they're being dismissive or they're not being empathetic. They're asking questions. I'm not saying that's what you're
Right.
saying. I'm just responding to
Yeah.
because it's hard to have the conversation
Right.
when the other side has to abide by some rules in order not to offend the person, right?
Right.
So if a person says, I don't understand why that commercial was a big deal, I get it from a business sense, you're being dismissive, you're being this, you're being that. And then that's how we can't communicate, because I'm sitting there willing to say, I don't quite understand. I get it's a black identity because I understand black hair in the community is a real thing. I'm saying that it's, for me, it's not, I don't really connect to that because I have other issues and other things that I connect to. And even when Nargis mentioned earlier how like there's, when you get people to say there's other things that we can be worrying about, it's okay to say that and just express it in a way that and say that I just don't understand why this is a big deal and why we have to, because and I got you, Paul, why some people may say boycott, because some people looking at it like now y'all want to destroy a black company
Yeah.
because of a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Which we can acknowledge that it may have been a mistake. But some
wouldn't call
people,
it a mistake.
I mean, well, you wouldn't. I'll say that I can acknowledge that it may.
It could have been done in poor taste.
If I think if it,
I'm not
I think
gonna
if
call
it
it a
pisses
mistake.
your base off, it's a mistake because that is part of business 101.
Right.
If it pisses your base off, no matter what you think about it, it's a mistake.
Which leads me to believe that if you went
And then Paul.
if you made a mistake that large, that means someone who made that decision, who pushed that button, wasn't sensitive to that product in its origins.
Right.
Right? Because, like, for example, we talk about a lot of black shit on this show. If somehow we came in, I was like, you know what, we're going to change up all this shit, right? So we're going to start talking about this, talking about that. Like, yo, the people that watch us every week, like, that's not what they rock with us
For instance, Paul and I talk about all the time. We can sit here and talk about the Wizards game all night.
Right.
We can literally talk about the Wizards game all day. Our base does not want to hear about the Wizards game as much
Right.
as me and Paul would love to sit around and talk about John Wall and what he did and the Skins and the Cats. We would talk sports all day, but our base doesn't want to hear that. So,
Right.
so it doesn't make us evil or wrong. It
No.
just means that we have to understand what our base is going to go on, and then I want Paul to get in
It's
there.
kind of like the episode of with Martin. You know when when Stan sold the station to that
Yeah,
country,
right. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Radio, and he threw the. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
one of those type of things of like you're losing your originality. You're losing what was the heart and soul of this company, because this company would not have gotten to the place where it can get white money in their pockets if it wasn't for these black women.
Good point.
So-
Right? So our struggle is attached to your pockets.
Got it. Go ahead.
No, that's
Go
a
ahead,
great
Paul.
point. But I think to the point that Adam brought up, it's just like I said. I don't think even within this line of questioning, people weren't empathetic. Because even when I was thinking about it, it was on the lines of I'm not really sure. Like I said, that comment really did bring a different sensibility to what I was thinking. So I guess like maybe the commercial may have been a fail if it offended a base so strongly. It didn't offend me at all.
Right.
Maybe I'm not as entrenched into their base as others are. But the thing is, we shouldn't dismiss the conversation. Like I said, I was like literally saying certain things for clarity because I really didn't.
But see, I think
really didn't get it.
that could be perceived as being dismissive, right? To be like, well, I'm not a part of that struggle, so I don't understand it, so it didn't
Or
bother
it could
me,
just be
but-
the truth.
No, I agree, it's the truth, but it's like I'm an able-bodied man, right? So to
Right.
be able to see someone who is not, for me to be able to like put those glasses on to be able to see how
Right.
things would be different, I can still make an argument,
See,
even though I don't
see, that-
struggle.
But I can speak on that.
But,
though.
right, but that's my point, right?
I'll
But
tell you this,
but I
so-
can't because I mean I can.
No, but listen to what I'm saying.
that-
So
yeah,
for
that-
people that are with me, that know me, you know me, Nargis and Adam know me, that are my family.
Mm-hmm.
When we go out and about, because I am directly here with them,
Right.
they think about accessibility in the buildings. And when we go to a building with my immediate company, it is
Mm-hmm.
an uproar. It is like, young, this is ridiculous. Why isn't? But that's because they know me. And they're around me. Before this happening to me, every building that I went to, I didn't look around and
Right.
go, I wonder if this building is accessible. Yeah.
Right, but see that's
See what I'm,
but
so for a
let him go,
person,
let him- yeah,
so
yeah,
for
yeah,
a
go.
person that might not understand that, it wouldn't offend me, because you understand what I'm saying. So that's all I'm saying. Like even the dismissive part, when I say I didn't quite understand it, I'm not saying that you're saying it's inspecificity to me.
Right.
I'm just saying like no, I just don't understand. Like rap
Yeah,
with me.
yeah, and that's the thing. And I want you to hold it because I want to get to these comments. We got a lot of really good comments in there. So we're gonna go there in a second. But yeah, because that that's I'm telling you, that's where the conversation gets really difficult to have. When you're telling me, it's almost like you're telling me, don't offend me, or we're not going to be able to have this conversation. And if someone's just asking a simple question, right? I don't use Shea moisture. I didn't even. I was calling it Shea butter. I called it Shea butter like 5 times
right.
throughout the week because I'm not familiar with the product, right?
Right.
So there are some people. There are some people that are very familiar with the product that really understand, and then they're in the comments. That's why I want to get to these comments. You know what I mean? That understand things and help me understand things that I didn't know. But it's okay for me to say, from a business standpoint, I still understand business. I still know how businesses work, right? If Unique Jones Gibson started making shirt, like bang, Unique, who's a good friend of mine, had to Because of Them We Can campaign. The next month she did one that was all inspired by Latino men and women, right? Some people will say, well, wait, why can't we just have our own thing? On one hand, I say I get it from a business standpoint because she wants to expand and tell more stories. I get it. It's not the same as putting a white person. I understand. But, you know, I mean, I'm just using it as an example. Like, so on one hand, I bet you some people were like, well, wait a minute, why do Latino people got to be involved in it? Why can't we just have black people? Why can't we ever just have something for us? I get it. I understand that completely because of our history. But on the other hand, it's okay to say, I understand the other side of it, and we can have a conversation. So I'm not against your thoughts. I'm against not being able to have the conversation. Some people truly just don't understand, and they're asking an honest question. I know you got thoughts on that, and I know Nargis got thoughts on that. Read some of these comments, then we're going to jump back in.
All right, so Des said, it comes off as building up off black people, then Kanye West, and when you get on, you leave your ass for a white girl.
Okay.
I believe it's, and forgive me, ma'am, it's Asima?
Asthma.
Asthma?
Asthma.
Asthma.
Not asthma.
No, not asthma. No, I'm trying to get it right. No.
Asthma.
She said it. She said it. She said it. Yeah.
My apologies. All they needed to do was add a dark-skinned woman with 4C hair in the commercial.
See, I don't
One
even know
more-
what that is.
One more model wouldn't have killed them, and the idea of natural hair care for all hair types would have been better received. Des said, exactly, they completely diminished the dark-skinned woman in the 4C hair group into a one-by-one box at the end of the commercial. Mila said that the problem with the ad is that it failed to be inclusive in a real way, which is a great point. And how are people overreacting by speaking out to the companies that give their money to? This we weaken our argument nonsense is hella dismissive.
We weaken. I got it.
I'm sorry, we weaken. Yeah.
I hate the word dismissive.
You don't
ahead,
have.
brother. I'm
That's
with
probably
you.
because as men we probably hear it all the time.
We probably do. That's probably why I hate the word dismissive.
it's a
Because I'm dismissive. Right. I'm with you.
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
You don't have to. Sosa said you don't have to erase to embrace.
That's a good point.
They didn't just whitewash their marketing, but they also whitewashed their product.
See, and that's the thing I don't know about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But
Like, that's
the
what
piece-
I don't know.
But that's
right?
I think that's specifically the piece that I think if people don't necessarily understand or attach to, they can say that piece to it. I think a lot of times when people ask questions, they ask these very abstract questions like, well, no, ask specifically what you don't understand, right? So you should be able to piecemeal it on your own.
Yeah.
Okay, you got the product quality piece, you got the idea of black business piece, you got the at large the other business piece of. There's a lot of things. So ask specifically what you don't understand,
But see-
and also keep the context of the history into your thought
But see,
process.
some people don't understand history, and that's what I was trying to
that's a
stress
problem.
earlier. Like
Yeah.
that because again, as a black man, and Argus, I don't want to go to you next. As a black man, like we you need to get a job to cut your hair, and I know that there are certain people that would never do that. Like my partner over here, right, wouldn't do it, and that's a fairly new thing, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Now, then you had the Black Love movement and all that in the 70s, but a lot of those people that were participants in the Black Love movement in the 80s was telling their kids to cut their hair and wear it so they can get a job. You know what I mean? So that's just entrenched, especially in men. So sometimes men just don't get this hair and beauty aspect of it. I had a young lady who on a post I had to take down who was explaining that it's tied to white supremacy in the sense of like the idea of the European look being beautiful, right? So when you have women that are trying to do something different and people are trying to crush them about it, I get it. We understand that. So, but some people do not. So I get why I can understand why some people can be dismissive about these things. So in a way, I guess it's not on. You could choose you could choose not to take things back to the beginning and try to be patient with people and understand and explain things. But on the other hand, some people just really don't get
But
it.
see, I think that's the important piece of this show in us as being media in this space, right? Is that we need to give a historical context when we do have these conversations, because with anything, with black struggle, with economic struggle in America, whatever worldly issues, you have to have an idea of historical context before we can have conversations. There has to be a before we got to a now. And if you don't have that connection to that history, you're not going to understand it. And once you acknowledge that you do actually understand that, and I'm not speaking to anyone specific in the room, I'm speaking just in general, when you do have that, when you do connect to that piece of history, it sometimes answers questions for us.
Got you. Nargis,
in my opinion.
Nargis, we said a lot.
Yeah, I mean, man, look, my mom's been using them products since Bams was selling them on the corner. You know what I'm saying? We got the soap, we got hand soap, we got the shampoo, we got everything. So it's like, yeah, I'm invested in the product. I'm a consumer of the product. I appreciate the historical origin of the product. I'm not going to support the product because of a marketing flaw and error that happened, which I'm sure won't happen again. You know what I mean? Like,
better not.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, did the backlash have to happen for them to learn?
Maybe.
So be it.
Yeah.
You know, is this my light skin privilege talking? Sure,
Possibly.
you can have it.
Possibly.
You can have that social media. I don't really care.
Right.
But you know, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, hell, support black businesses and let people make mistakes sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah,
And leave it at that.
Go ahead, Pete.
And within our own community, open up conversation. Like I did, like what I'm saying is like I completely understand everything that you
Right,
said,
yeah.
like 100%. But also like even like I said in the connotation of conversation, I'm saying to you, look, like I may not know how to completely break down the specificity of my of what I'm trying to say. I don't under. If so, could I just say, hey, what has you? You know, what are you so upset about? That's not too specific. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like we can't, like when people are trying to have a conversation, we can't just, you know, deem them off as dismissive.
No, and you're right. And I think that's a lot of times what the conversation in general is. A lot of times, even, okay, so as a man, there was a piece of the whole Kendrick Lamar thing I just didn't understand.
Right.
I didn't, but again, as a man, but it's asking the right questions, it's having the right conversations with certain people. And sometimes on social media, somebody may say, man, fuck y'all want about Shea Moisture, whatever, nigga, we got bigger problems. And then they end the tweet there, and it's like, wait, so were you just saying that because you were busy and you just left it there?
Right.
Is there really a misunderstanding? Like, what is it? And I think that actually having the right conversations with the right people. You know what I mean? Mila specifically, I had a conversation about the Kendrick Lamar piece. And through our conversation, I did understand it a little bit more. Yes, do I still have like a little struggle? I completely don't understand. Absolutely.
Right.
But through that trusted conversation I had with her, I was able to kind of put more pieces to it and say, okay, look, I didn't consider this, I didn't consider that.
Right.
But also having that right conversation with that person. And she was frustrated as hell during that conversation, right? Because she was like, yo, your band shit's just coming out. But at the same time, I was able to kind of like put things together. And I think sometimes having those right conversations, adding context to it helps.
Yeah.
I mean, but this, I'm sorry, but this outcry always mean everyone's right.
Yeah.
No.
But that's
Hey.
the issue is everyone always tries to go into a debate convincing other people why you're right. Like that's when it doesn't become a healthy debate and it becomes this combative
Right.
social media thing because I can, like, again, I understand exactly where Clarence is coming from. I get it. I respect his position. Do I agree 100%? Absolutely not. I don't lose respect for him because we disagree
Right.
on this particular topic. He's right in his thought process, and I feel like I'm right in my thought process. I'm not trying to make him think I'm right. And that's where the issue always comes in, is when you have people that go in, it's like, you're no, chill. Like, you have to respect that other people are going to have opinions and thought processes because we all come from different walks.
Yeah, and it's you know we tend to be, and I just gonna hurt people, triggered, right? And I'm not saying that's the case with this. I don't not as familiar with the product to know if this.
It's a trigger.
I take your word for it. I take your word for it. You know what I mean?
It's a
Like
trigger.
you're being triggered.
Black hair, it's a trigger.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, I know black hair is a trigger. I'm saying that, you know, if whether, yeah, I'm with it. So, what I don't think is cool, and I don't know all the ins and outs of this business. It seems like it's a public business, so I'm sure there's a board. He's a CEO.
They're in
so
Target.
so it's public. There's a board. There's probably white men in the room that that have control over this business. They could probably vote my man out. You know what I'm saying? If that's the case. So I don't know the ins and outs of the business and this and another, but I do know that this is a black-born business created by a black person, and they're not going to destroy Shea Moisture, okay? Like, it's not like it's going to fall off the
Right.
And on the other hand, not to sound all over the place, on the other hand, I do think it's okay to be able to, for stuff you spend money on. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I keep using Nike for an example because this is something we consume, right? If Nike had a ad campaign that totally shitted on people like you and I, Paul,
Right.
we would be upset about it, and we would want Nike to listen to us.
Right.
We would want them to listen to us. We would want whatever other product. We would want Nike. I'm just gonna keep it on Nike to listen to us, right?
We have to bring up a better
Yeah, I
example.
couldn't-
when you
Being
try
such a man right now.
I couldn't figure another example. I mean, I wear Nike shit, but
a new example
So-
with this old example.
So I understand. I think that the problem is we try to come up with a definitive answer, like Nargis said. Like we try to win the conversation as
Right.
opposed to help people understand better. You know what I mean? And that's why you throw bomb words out like dismissive and this, that, and another, because it's like a way to end the conversation. And that's not to say to anyone, I saw the word come up even in our chat.
Right. We
but
love
that's
all
not,
you guys.
not to say that you can't use the word. I'm just one man talking, but I'm just saying that I think that is, there's always room for healthy conversation and helping people understand things in a better way. And I think that's what's going on right now. I mean, I'll tell you what, homeboy was on Breakfast Club. Now, he was steadfast in certain things. I am expanding my market. I'm doing this and another. But he also said, listen, you can watch that interview. It was on YouTube, Breakfast Club. Y'all know where to find it. He said, listen, we made a mistake. You know, we won't do it again.
Right.
I understand why people are upset. Here's where we were coming from. I'm not going to do it again. He did say, you know, we got a lot of good things going on as a company. I would like you to not give up on our company for one mistake. And I agree with that. We could make a mistake. Right. There's someone that probably listened to the show right now and heard this conversation and was like, fuck that. I'm never listening to this show again. I remember I said something about Obama years ago about how him being light-skinned may have made him a little bit easier to stomach for the public. And I remember there was a girl, we had an old chat board back then. There was a girl that was like, boycott mainstream radio, never listen to us again. You know what I'm saying? And I can't trip off of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then again, I would just tell her and people like that, like, consider our entire catalog, not just our one mistake. So that's all I can really say about this. The company is not close to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I would say consider the entire thing. Yeah. But you all definitely have the right to say, I didn't like that. I want you to do better as consumers. Go ahead, P.
Right. I mean, but per your point, and it's not a specific Nike thing, but you remember when Michael Jordan came out and said that Republicans buy shoes too.
Yeah, that was
a big deal, and you know, certain people, you know, decided whether they were going to support the company or not. But I just think that, I mean, like we all said, bring in a healthy conversation. Even like there's a way. Okay, so I give you this. Like, so Adam and I talk about this a while back. There was a lady in a 7-Eleven store, and she went in there with her children, and they had on traditional African gear, like traditional, you know, African. The whole
yeah.
Okay. So when they went in there, I guess some of the workers asked them were they was it Halloween or something of the sort, and the mother proceeded to berate these people. So to me, you could simply engineer a lesson there. You can say, well, actually, no, it's not. This is so and so and so and so, and to me, it would have brought the point across better. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, like, I don't know if we always gotta punch people in the mouth all the time.
There is some emotionality that's connected to things. I think sometimes coming off, you know, it may come off wrong, or not wrong, but it may come out very harsh, right? But I think that sometimes we do need to dial it back and make those conversations happen.
All right, we got to get ready to wrap this thing up. Thanks, everybody that tuned in.
No doubt.
Thank you for all your comments in the chat. You guys were spirited today, and I like that.
Indeed.
We might be off next week, depending on what we can work out. Not sure. We'll let
see.
you know. But we'll definitely be back the week after. We're going to try to get our guest Nicole Floyd of 1092 PR. Thank you for trying to get here.
We appreciate it.
Stuff. We're going to try to get her on in the coming weeks so we can actually have this actual social media conversation. But thank you for dealing with our switch up. You know, we switched it up in the middle of the show and you guys stuck with us. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, be great.
Elevate us.
We up out of here.
God, this mess of ass.